Hey VIT, I just wanted to talk about the next Photoshop project, and you might hear a crying baby in the background, but that's just Everett, so no worries. Hi Everett, he's going to try to help out as best as he can. Alright, so here's the thing. If we want to do something in Photoshop, we first have to go to File and create a brand new document for us to work in. We're going to call this our last name, and the name of the project is going to be called Crazy Eights. The size of the project is going to be, you guessed it, 8 by 8 inches in size, and the resolution, just for fun, 188 pixels per inch. Okay, and then we can go ahead and hit OK, and it creates this 8 by 8 inch document for us to work in. Now to bring our photos in, we need to go to File, Open, and we've saved 8 images into our computer already, into our H drive. So all we have to do is go to that folder, and I created a I created a Crazy Eights file already, and if I click on all of these and hold down Control, or if I click and drag a selection box to select them all, or if I hit Control A to select all, I can select all these images and then hit Open, and it should open them all up, and each one in its own tab. So um, then I can start to pull these tabs down off so that they'll be in Windows. And you can do this a lot of ways. I just kind of prefer to do it this way. So now I see all of my pictures here, all 8 of them over here in their own windows, and I want to pull each one into our new document. So I'm going to click on one, and then I'm going to click and drag. Then I'm going to I'm going to cancel that one out because I'm done. I'm going to click on a new one, click and drag it into the new document. And I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to click on this one, and then I'm going to click on it again and drag it in, and I'm going to close it out. I'm going to click on this new one, and I'm going to click and drag it. So each time you have to click on it to select the window, and then you have to click on it again to drag it. Click on it once, click on it again, drag it in. Close it out. Click on it again. Close it out. Click on it again. Close it out. Click on it again, drag it over, close it out. So now I have 8 layers in this one document. All of my photos are in this same document, which is kind of interesting. That's the reason why it's called Crazy Eights. And the purpose of this whole lesson is to learn how to bring files in, so now that you've done it 8 times, hopefully you'll get it. And then the other part of this project is to understand how layers work together. So when you're going crazy trying to figure out how to move one layer or the other. One of the secrets to not going completely crazy when working with this is to select the auto select button at the top of your screen. By clicking that little auto select button in the control panel, you'll be able to click on photos and it will change automatically to the layer. If you do not have that selected, you have to select the layer and then you can move that particular photo. So if I click on this layer, I'll be able to move this guy. If I click on this layer, I'll be able to move that guy. If I click on this layer, I'll be able to move that layer. So if you click the auto select button, you can just click on the picture that you want and it'll switch to the layer automatically, making things easier for you. But when you have so many layers, sometimes it's nice to be able to select the layer that you want specifically in the layers palette. So for what it's worth, I hope that that helps you, and I hope that you'll be able to figure out which way works best for you. Now, the other thing that's kind of crazy about this right now is that because of the variety of resolutions that we brought in, we have to change the size. Some things look small, some things look big, some things look medium. So to do that, we have to click on what we want, either click on the layer or use the auto select button at the top of your control panel and click on the thing that you want to change. And then you can go to Edit, Free Transform, or you can see the key command for that is Control T. So I prefer to use key commands, so Control T, and you get this bounding box around your image. You can hold down the Shift button, and that will keep your image in proper proportion. and you can stretch the image to be as big or as small as you want. When you're done sizing the image, hit enter on the keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to size the different layers. Now, as I go, I'm going to kind of hide things so that things don't get too crazy. So I'm going to hide that and go on to the next one, which is this Grateful Dead guy, and Control T, get the bounding box, Shift, stretch, enter. Hide him momentarily, hide that one. Move on to the next one, Control T, Shift, stretch. And when I'm done, I hit enter. Hide that one. Go to the next one. Control T. Stretch. And you can stretch bigger than, see how these things are getting cropped off. You can stretch your image to be bigger than your image window. It'll be kind of cropped, but sometimes you're going to have to do that and hit enter when you're done. I'm going to hide that one. Click on this one. Just move it. It's big enough so I don't have to stretch that one. Hide it. Okay, so I finished up kind of changing the sizes of all the images in here so that they all fill up the screen and whatnot. And so the only thing left to do is I'm gonna spend a lot of time just kind of playing around with each image, selecting and deleting pixels, using the eraser tool, selection tools, and using some of the blending modes and the opacity over here to blend the layers together. So just a quick look at some of these different things. So we can use some of the selection tools like the lasso tools. Some of you might want to use the magic wand tool, especially for things like this where there's a lot of white. You can quickly select white and hit the delete button on the keyboard. Something kind of interesting to use as well is once you have some white selected, you can go to select and go to similar, and it will select all the stuff that is similar to that. So then you can easily select all the white. And you can also go to, when you have all these dancing ants and you want to deselect them, go to select, deselect, and it'll deselect all of that stuff. And so I can't really see the bird too well, but I'm not really worried about it because I'm going to keep kind of doing stuff to this image. So I'm going to take the bird away for a little bit. And now I'm going to focus on this layer here. And let's say I wanted to click on this layer and say use a different method like a blending mode. So I can use a blending mode and say I wanted to use a little bit of like an eraser tool to erase away some of this image. And then I'll hide that layer and say this layer I wanted to make the opacity. Select that layer and make the opacity really low so you can barely see it. And then hide that layer. Maybe do a blending mode on that layer. Well, that looks really neat. And hide this for a second. And then work on this layer. Say maybe the eraser tool, but this time I can reduce the opacity and change the brush size to a really big brush and make it really soft to kind of erase that away to bring out the layer behind it. Momentarily hide it. Momentarily. I kind of liked the way that worked out, so I'm going to actually click on this layer and do the same thing. Kind of bring out some of that. And let's just see what we got. So I want to be able to see more of the stuff behind it, so I'm actually going to keep working on this layer. And I can go back and fine tune some stuff. Actually, I don't really like that layer too much. Just gonna keep working with this until it's something that I like, and then I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I kind of moved some stuff around and did some editing, used some image adjustments on some of the layers to boost colors and contrast and stuff. Also used a little bit of a filter on some of the things, and just continued to use some of the different tools that we had talked about. So I'm kind of happy with this final result, and when I am, I go ahead and hit File, Save As, and I make sure that I save this in my H drive in my Crazy 8s folder as my last name, Crazy 8s, and this is going to be a Photoshop file, so I'm going to save it. So if I ever want to come back in and edit this, I can, and then I'm going to save one additional copy as a JPEG. So I'm going to go to File, Save As one more time, and change this to a JPEG. And go ahead and save. And maximum is fine, so I hit OK. It's going to save it as a flattened sort of JPEG, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that in for credit. And